You touched on extremely critical topic, exactly. Because we don't always think about algorithm, right? The way it rates you, the way it reads you, the way it's, yes, provides recommendation, but most importantly, the way it pushes opportunity. Either it's watching the next movie, or like
Yeah,
you said, I didn't think about it. Like, yeah, some of the jobs not going to be even considered for you.
yeah.
So how interesting. How interesting. That leaves us with long trail thoughts, right? How we upskilling ourselves, how we really thinking for ourselves first. So algorithm read us in a way that we want to position ourselves in the world, don't you think?
Yeah, and it starts with the awareness. This was like among the services. In Mindsense Global, I put a lot of effort because I'm really passionate about the AI. So I put a lot of effort in the AI education. We have to educate ourselves, whether as me as an AI practitioner or as like a member of the public. Obviously you don't need to know AI by heart. Every single detail, but like some awareness, is very helpful. So the more aware of it, the more kind of like better things will happen, because then I will use the technology in a good way. Because for me, AI is not bad and AI is not good. It's the way we human use it that makes it either good or bad. And for us to use it in a good way, we need first to understand it
Loving
and
it,
the
Jamila.
implication.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You're speaking of the roles around AI. I just read recent Gartner report about AI roles and responsibilities. And what's your take on this? That there are multiple specialities, right, within the departments handling AI. So let me give you an example. Data engineer, data scientist, AI architect, machine learning engineer, and I'm sure there is a long list,
A
right,
lot.
of those professions even. So what's your take? Are we really at very early stage of developing these new roles?
Um, for me, I have like two split opinions
Mm-hmm.
in that. So in one hand, let's start with the positive one. So the positive thing is you don't have to be really kind of like a tech person to be in AI. Obviously AI is like a huge sphere, and then there is kind of obviously there is the techie bit of it, an area specialized for the the people who know by heart, those machine learning algorithms, or the people who do code. But you don't have to have those skills. If you don't have those skills, then you can still be involved in AI in around the ethics, around the principle, around transparency, accountability. That like around you ask, and I know that you are passionate about the human interaction. The human interaction bit, the legal aspect bit. There are like so many aspects in AI that you don't have to be really really techy to get involved with AI. So that's the good news. If you are interested in AI, there are like so many opportunities for you to get in without having the technical aspect. Now the negative bit, the thing that I don't like, and this is kind of more about the techie bit. I know that there is already confusion around what is AI, and I sometimes don't like it when I see that now, someone has decided to introduce a new term or a new concept, and it is not really a new thing. It's just like another label. So I think kind of, whereas it's good to have those different distinctions, sometimes in practice, all those things, they got muddled, into each other. If you are like working in a very big, FTSE company, you may have a split between someone doing only the data engineering and another one doing the data science and another one specializing in ML. But in reality, especially if you're like a small company, it's the same person who will be involved in all of that. So I'm splitting that. I think it helps to have some refined details between the roles. It's definitely plus, but I think we shouldn't do a lot of it, because then we may just add to the confusion. And I think we already have enough confusion. We don't need, to add unnecessary ones.
And silos, right? Silos.
Silos.
In 2 decades, I'm in technology business, right? We're always overcoming those barriers, departmental barriers, the silos within the teams.
Absolutely.
So adding new roles, right? A new silos not gonna give us what we want.
Yeah, and if you ask different people, obviously we'll have different. I'm only talking about my own opinion. So I know there are like people who think that maybe the AI people or the data science people, whoever, kind of all those different now specialities should sit in AI. My opinion is totally the opposite of that. For me, I'm talking about, like, for me, AI is a way of thinking. And for me, kind of like, these, and I think for me, this type of people, they should really sit in a business. I'm not talking about necessarily the really techie bit, the one who codes, but definitely, because for you to identify an opportunity in the business that will last. So we're not talking about something that will only be an experiment and will fail after a while. You really need to understand the technology, but you also need to understand the business. It has to start with the business. And the best way is to have these people sitting in the business. The other compromise is to have them sitting somewhere in between, in between the business and the pure IT.
And it's all about communication, by the way.
Absolutely.
Every technology conversation I'm having, it comes to human communications. Because this one part of the business is not understanding the pain points of other part, or even within same team, right? No technology help you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wow, Djamila. So we touched on so many important topics there, from futuristic, trends to really very practical and pragmatic angle. So thank you so very much for this talk today. Let's leave our audience with a few takeaways. Would you close with some key moments that you think worth thinking about when we're addressing, all the different elements of AI universe we're in?
I think when you think about AI, so for me, my advice is, always think of it as a tool, as a mean to an end. Always start with the problem, never start with the tool or the technology. And for me, I think, kind of going forward, if we can have the right awareness and the right education, we could really see an acceleration of the uptake of AI going forward. AI has a huge potential to make our lives and our businesses a lot better, more efficient, but it all goes down into how they're applied. So we need to find a way to apply it in a good way, in a way that lasts enough. So kind of thinking about the governance of it, the accountability of it. And for AI to really shine in the future, there are like 2 points that needs to be addressed. One we touched on is, the whole debate around the ethics, to transparency, accountability. But there is another more important element that keeps now increasing, which is the carbon footprint, the sustainability element of AI. Obviously, it's not applicable to every single algorithm or methods within AI, but if you are using deep learning, especially if you are using those big complex, models, billions of parameters, your carbon footprint is going to be very, very huge. So going forward, we need to take the sustainability element and the carbon footprint element of AI, and to find a way, to make it, smarter and lower.
What a wonderful way to finish the conversation today. Djamila, thank you so very, very much for this insightful talk. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.